My spouse emptied our child's college savings, disappearing with her paramour. I felt crushed until our 12-year-old grinned and spoke, "Pop, relax." I managed it. Several days later, she phoned, shrieking upon discovering. Can you imagine waking up one morning, grabbing your phone for a quick check, and seeing a bank balance that just doesn't make sense? Like, literally $0 in savings and barely enough for a coffee and checking? My entire life savings, our future, everything, just gone. And the kicker? It wasn't a hacker. It was the woman I loved, the woman I shared a bed with for 15 years. My wife. How do you even begin to process that kind of betrayal? What the hell happened next? It was a Tuesday, 7:42 a.m. I blinked hard, trying to clear the fog from a restless night. The numbers on my phone screen, they just didn't compute. 0.00 in savings and a pathetic $73.91 in checking. My hand started to tremble. I pulled down to refresh the screen, desperately praying it was some kind of banking error, a glitch. Anything but what my gut was already screaming at me. The spinning wheel of death seemed to take an eternity. It reloaded. Same numbers. Same devastating, brutal reality. I refreshed it again. And again. 5 times, each one more desperate than the last, as if sheer repetition could somehow bend the truth staring back at me. But reality doesn't care about desperation, and those numbers remain stubbornly, horrifyingly the same. That's when I noticed the transaction history. My stomach lurched. I scrolled through the list. All outgoing. All dated within the past 48 hours. And all authorized by one name, Rachel Patterson. My wife. My Rachel. The woman I met at a coffee shop when we were both 23, fresh out of college. The woman who walked down the aisle to me in a vintage lace dress, the book of love playing softly in the background. The woman who held my hand in the delivery room, crying tears of joy when our daughter, Lily, was born. That woman had taken every cent we owned. But it wasn't just our money. The realization hit me like a physical blow as I clicked through to our other accounts. She'd taken Lily's college fund, too. The one we'd opened the day she was born, the one we'd contributed to faithfully, every single month for 12 years. Birthday money from grandparents, tax refunds, countless small sacrifices. $75,000, accumulated through careful planning, all of it, gone. Transferred out in 3 large chunks over 2 days. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the phone. I collapsed onto the edge of our bed. Our bed. The bed Rachel hadn't slept in for the past 3 nights, claiming she needed to stay late at the office for a big project. The bed where we'd talked about our dreams, made plans for our future, whispered secrets in the dark. I called her number, my heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. It rang once, twice, 3 times, then straight to voicemail. "Hey, it's Rachel. I can't take your call right now, but leave a message and I'll get back to you as soon as I can." The cheerfulness in her recorded voice felt like a slap. I hung up without leaving a message. Immediately called back. Same result. I tried 5 more times, each attempt more frantic, until I finally left a rambling, desperate message that I'm sure made me sound completely unhinged. "Rachel, what the hell is going on? The accounts are empty. All of them. Including Lily's college fund. Please call me back. Please. I don't understand what's happening. Just, please call me." I sat there, staring at my phone, willing it to ring. 5 minutes passed. 10. 15. Nothing. Then, my phone buzzed with a text message. For a split second, hope surged through me. But it wasn't from Rachel. It was from her mother, Eleanor. "She's safe. Don't contact her." I read the message 3 times, trying to process the implications. "She's safe." As if I was some kind of threat. As if I was the problem in this scenario. "Don't contact her." The finality of those 3 words was like a door slamming in my face. I called Eleanor immediately. She answered on the first ring, her voice clipped and cold. "Tom, I meant what I said. Rachel doesn't want to talk to you right now. Eleanor, please." I heard myself begging, hating how pathetic I sounded. "I don't understand what's happening. She took all our money. She took Lily's college fund. Where is she? What's going on?" There was a long pause on the other end. When Eleanor finally spoke, her voice had softened slightly, but the steel underneath remained. Rachel is making changes in her life. Changes she should have made years ago. She'll contact you when she's ready to discuss arrangements. Arrangements? Eleanor, she stole our life savings. She stole our daughter's future. What kind of arrangements could possibly? She didn't steal anything. That money was in joint accounts. She has every right to access it. For what? Where did it go? Is she okay? Is she in trouble? Does she need help? Another long pause. She's not in trouble, Tom. She's finally free. The line went dead. I sat there in our bedroom, surrounded by the evidence of our shared life. Wedding photos on the dresser. Rachel's jewelry box. Her collection of mystery novels on the nightstand. Her robe hanging on the back of the bathroom door. I tried to make sense of Eleanor's words. Finally free. Free from what? From me? From our life together? From our family? That's when it hit me. Really, truly hit me. She was gone. Not temporarily gone. Not taking a break. Gone. As in, gone for good. The realization hollowed me out. I felt like I was falling, even though I was sitting perfectly still. 15 years of marriage. And this was how it ended. Without warning, without explanation, without even a face-to-face conversation. Just empty bank accounts and a cold text message from her mother telling me to leave her alone. I don't know how long I sat there. Time seemed to lose all meaning. The sun climbed higher outside our bedroom window. I heard our neighbor's dog barking, a car driving past. Normal sounds of a normal Tuesday morning in a world that had just stopped being normal for me. Eventually, I forced myself to stand up. My legs felt weak, but they held me. I had to tell Lily. God, I had to tell our 12-year-old daughter that her mother had left us. That her college fund was gone. That everything we'd planned for was now uncertain. I found her exactly where she was every morning before school, sitting at the kitchen table, eating cereal, and reading something on her tablet. She looked so much like Rachel, it hurt. Same dark hair, same thoughtful expression, same way of tilting her head when she was concentrating. But she had my eyes, hazel and slightly too large for her face, and my stubborn chin. "Morning, Dad," she said without looking up. "You're up late. Rough night." I stood in the doorway, searching for words that wouldn't come. How do you tell your child that her mother abandoned her? How do you explain that the person who's supposed to love her most in the world chose to leave? "Lil, we need to talk about something." Something in my tone made her look up. Her spoon froze halfway to her mouth, cereal milk dripping back into the bowl. "What's wrong?" Her voice was cautious, already bracing for bad news. I pulled out the chair across from her and sat down. My hands were still shaking, so I clasped them together on the table. "It's about your mom." Lily set down her spoon carefully. "She's not on another business trip, is she?" "No, sweetie. She left." Left. The word hung in the air between us. Like left? As in not coming back. I nodded, not trusting my voice. Lily was quiet for a long moment, processing this information with a calmness that seemed unnatural for a 12-year-old receiving such devastating news. Then she asked, "What about the money?" The question surprised me. Of all the things I expected her to ask, why? Where did she go? When is she coming back? Is it my fault? This wasn't on the list. "What do you mean?" "The money, Dad. The bank accounts." "Did she take them?" My throat constricted. "Yes. All of them. My college fund, too?" The hope in her voice, the desperate need for me to say no, nearly destroyed me. But I had to tell her the truth. "Yes, baby." "I'm so sorry." "Your college fund, too." Lily's face went very still. She blinked once, then again. I waited for the tears, the anger, the breakdown that any child would be entitled to in this moment. But instead, she sat back in her chair, her expression settling into something I'd never seen before on her face. Something almost calculating. "Don't worry, Dad," she said, her voice eerily calm. "I handled it." I stared at her, confused. "What do you mean you handled it?" "Lily, I know when it happened." She stood up, grabbing her backpack from the counter. "I need to get to school. We can talk about it later." "Lily, wait." But she was already heading for the door, moving with purpose, like a person who had somewhere important to be. She paused at the threshold and looked back at me. Dad, seriously. Don't worry. I've got this under control. Then she was gone, leaving me alone in our kitchen with more questions than I'd had before our conversation. What did she mean she'd handled it? How could a 12-year-old handle her mother abandoning the family and stealing all their money? What did she know that I didn't? I tried calling Rachel 17 more times that day. Every call went straight to voicemail. I sent texts that went unanswered. I even tried emailing her work account, only to receive an automated response saying she was out of the office indefinitely. By evening, I was a wreck. I'd spent the day making phone calls to the bank, who confirmed there was nothing I could do. Rachel had legal access to the accounts. To a lawyer, who said I'd need to file for divorce and possibly report fraud, but warned me it would be a long, expensive process. And to Rachel's workplace, where her assistant nervously informed me that Rachel had put in her 2 weeks' notice 3 weeks ago, and Friday had been her last day. 3 weeks ago. She'd been planning this for at least 3 weeks, probably longer. The late nights at the office, the distracted conversations, the way she'd stopped asking about my day or making plans for the future, all of it made horrible, sickening sense now. When Lily came home from school, I was sitting on the couch, surrounded by bank statements and legal documents, trying to figure out our next move. She dropped her backpack by the door and came to sit beside me. "How are you holding up?" she asked, her hand finding mine. "I don't know," I admitted. "I'm still trying to process everything. Lily, about what you said this morning. I meant it." Her voice was firm. "I said I handled it, and I did." "Sweetie, I don't understand. How could you have?" She grabbed her laptop from her backpack and opened it. Her fingers moved across the keyboard with practiced efficiency. And suddenly, I was looking at what appeared to be our bank's internal interface. "Lily, is that Mom's account?" "Yeah." "Well, technically it's still a joint account, but she's the primary user." Lily's voice was matter-of-fact, like we were discussing her homework instead of something that was definitely illegal. "She's not very good with passwords. She uses Rachel 2010 for everything. That's her name and the year we got married, by the way. Pretty unoriginal." I stared at the screen, then at my daughter, then back at the screen. "Lily, how did you?" "YouTube tutorials, mostly. Computer security is fascinating once you understand the basics. Did you know that most people use the same password for everything? And they usually make it something personally significant, which makes it super easy to guess if you know anything about them." She clicked through several screens, showing me transaction histories. I recognized the transfers that had emptied our accounts. But then she showed me something I hadn't seen before. Additional transfers. Transfers from Rachel's personal checking account, one I didn't even know existed, to another account belonging to someone named Evan Westbrook. "Who's Evan Westbrook?" I asked, though a part of me already knew the answer. "Mom's boyfriend." Lily said it so casually, like she was telling me the weather. Or I guess ex-boyfriend now. He works at the same accounting firm she did. Worked. Past tense for both of them, actually. My mind was reeling. Rachel had a boyfriend? For how long? And more importantly, what did she mean ex-boyfriend and past tense for both of them? Lily smiled. And there was something unsettling about that smile. Something too adult, too knowing. "Keep watching." She clicked to what appeared to be an email interface. Rachel's email. And there, filling the screen, were dozens of messages between my wife and this Evan person. I didn't want to read them, but I couldn't look away. The first few were flirtatious, then romantic, then explicit, then practical discussions of logistics, money transfers, plans for the future. A future that didn't include me or Lily. One email, dated 2 weeks ago, read, "The Florida house closes Friday. Wire transfer complete. By this time next week, we'll be on the beach together, and this whole mess will be behind us. No more sneaking around. No more guilt. Just us, the ocean, and $75,000 to start our new life. Tom won't even realize what happened until it's too late." I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. The Florida house. She'd bought a house with my money, with our daughter's college fund, to live in with another man. "Lily," I managed to choke out. "When did you find all this?" "About 6 weeks ago." She closed the laptop gently. I saw Mom on a second phone one night when she thought I was asleep. The next day, when she left it charging in her office, I looked at it. That's how I found the messages with Evan. After that, I started monitoring everything. 6 weeks. I looked at my 12-year-old daughter and barely recognized her. You've known about this for 6 weeks and you didn't tell me? I wanted to be sure first. And I wanted to figure out exactly what they were planning. Her voice was steady, logical. If I told you right away, you would have confronted Mom. She would have denied everything or gotten defensive, and we wouldn't have had any proof. Plus, I needed time to figure out how to protect us. Protect us how? Lily opened her laptop again. Well, for starters, I documented everything. Every message, every financial transaction, every lie. I have timestamps, screenshots, and backups stored in 3 different cloud services. But that's just the evidence gathering part. She pulled up another screen. This one showing what looked like credit reports and financial records. I also started digging into Evan's background. Turns out he's not exactly an upstanding citizen. See these transactions here. She pointed to a series of highlighted entries. Evan's been embezzling from his clients at the accounting firm. Small amounts at first, but getting larger over the past year. He's been using fake investment accounts to hide the money, then transferring it to offshore accounts. I stared at the screen, my mind struggling to keep up. How did you find all this? He uses the same password as Mom. Westbrook 2015. His last name and the year he started at the firm. Seriously, why are adults so bad at cybersecurity? She clicked through more screens. But here's the really interesting part. See this loan application? That's for the Florida house. They needed a down payment and proof of income. Guess whose social security number they used? My blood ran cold. Whose? Mine. Lily's voice hardened. They forged a bunch of documents making it look like I had an income from a trust fund. Then they used your tax information to secure the mortgage itself. That's identity theft, Dad. Federal crime. Serious jail time if caught. Lily, what did you do? The question came out as a whisper. She looked at me with those hazel eyes, my eyes, and said, I told you I handled it. That night, I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw my daughter's face, so calm and controlled, as she showed me evidence of her mother's betrayal and her own frighteningly sophisticated response to it. The house felt wrong, like the walls were watching us, judging us, bearing witness to the implosion of our family. I kept replaying the conversation in my head, trying to understand when my 12-year-old had learned to hack into secure accounts and document financial crimes. When had she become this person? This calm, calculating person who could discover her mother's affair and respond not with tears, but with strategic planning? Around 3 in the morning, I got up and walked past Lily's room. Light spilled out from under her door, and I could hear the soft clicking of her keyboard. She was still awake, still working on whatever plan she'd put into motion. I raised my hand to knock, then lowered it. What would I even say? Tell her to stop? Tell her that what she was doing was dangerous and possibly illegal? But what she told me so far suggested that Rachel and Evan had committed actual crimes. Identity theft, fraud, embezzlement. If Lily had really documented all of it, maybe we weren't the villains in this story. The next morning, Wednesday, I woke to the smell of coffee. When I stumbled into the kitchen, I found Lily already dressed for school, a fresh pot brewing, and 2 mugs set out on the counter. Figured you could use some extra caffeine, she said, pouring for both of us. You didn't sleep much. How did you know? I heard you pacing around 3 a.m. She added cream to my coffee exactly the way I liked it. Want to talk about it? I took the mug gratefully. Lily, I've been thinking about everything you told me yesterday. I'm worried. Don't be. She interrupted me gently. Everything's under control. But what you're doing, hacking into accounts, accessing private information, is exactly what they did to us. Dad, they stole my identity. They used my social security number to commit fraud. They took money that was meant for my education and used it to buy a love nest in Florida. Everything I've done has been to protect us and document their crimes. But besides, she continued, taking a sip of her own coffee, when had she started drinking coffee, you should probably stop trying to log into Mom's accounts. I already have full access. And if you try to, it'll set off security alerts that might make them suspicious. Suspicious of what? She smiled that unsettling smile again. Of the fact that someone's watching them. Before I could respond, her phone buzzed. She glanced at it, and her smile widened. What is it? I asked. Nothing important. Just an email delivery confirmation. She picked up her backpack. I need to get to school. We'll talk more tonight. Okay. After she left, I try to distract myself with work. I'm a graphic designer and work from home, which usually I love. But that day, being alone in our house felt suffocating. Rachel's absence was everywhere. Her empty coffee mug still sat in the dishwasher. Her gym bag hung on the hook by the garage door. Her planner lay open on the counter, entries for the week suddenly meaningless. Around noon, my phone rang. Rachel's name on the screen. My heart jumped into my throat. Rachel. I answered on the first ring. Rachel, please talk to me. Please help me understand. What did you do? Her voice was pure panic, high-pitched and terrified. Tom, what the hell did you do? What are you talking about? I've been trying to call you for days. Our accounts are frozen. She was screaming now, the words tumbling over each other. All of them. The bank says there's been suspicious activity and they've locked everything pending an investigation. And Evan, oh God, Evan's been fired. Someone sent his boss a massive file with emails and financial records. Anne. Rachel, slow down. I don't understand what, someone hacked us, Tom. Someone got into our emails. Our bank accounts. Everything. They sent evidence of. She stopped abruptly. They sent lies. All lies. But Evan's boss believed them. And he's been escorted out by security. And they're saying he embezzled money and that we. She broke off into sobs. Actual, hysterical sobs. I'd been married to this woman for 15 years, and I'd never heard her sound like this. I looked across the kitchen table to where Lily had sat that morning, calmly drinking her coffee and telling me everything was under control. Rachel, where are you right now? I can't tell you that. I can't trust anyone. Someone is trying to destroy us, and I don't know who or why or... Her voice suddenly turned cold. It was you, wasn't it? You hired someone. A private investigator or a hacker or I didn't hire anyone. That, at least, was the absolute truth. Then who? She was crying again. Who would do this? Who would she stop? Evan's calling on the other line. I have to go. Rachel, wait. But she was gone. I sat there holding my phone, staring at it like it might provide answers. Someone had frozen their accounts. Someone had sent evidence of Evan's crimes to his employer. Someone had systematically begun dismantling the new life they'd tried to build with our stolen money. And that someone was currently sitting in a 7th grade English class, probably taking notes on The Giver or whatever they were reading this week, acting like a normal 12-year-old kid. When Lily came home that afternoon, I was waiting for her at the kitchen table. We need to talk, I said before she could even set down her backpack. I know. She pulled out the chair across from me. Mom called you. It wasn't a question. How did you know? I've been monitoring her phone records. She called you at 12:47 p.m., and the call lasted 3 minutes and 42 seconds. Lily folded her hands on the table. What did she say? She said their accounts are frozen. She said Evan was fired. She said someone hacked them and sent evidence of crimes to his employer. I leaned forward. Lily, what did you do? I leveled the playing field. Her voice was calm, almost conversational. Monday night, I filed fraud reports with all 3 credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. I reported identity theft using your information and mine, with full documentation of the forged documents Evan and Mom created. That triggered automatic holds on all accounts associated with our social security numbers, which includes the fraudulent accounts they opened and the Florida house purchase. And Evan's job? I sent an anonymous email to the senior partners at Westbrook and Associates. That's Evan's firm. The email included copies of the falsified investment statements, records of unauthorized transfers from client accounts, and screenshots of his communications with Mom about hiding the money. I also included a detailed timeline showing that the embezzlement started about 18 months ago, right around when his affair with Mom began. She said it all so matter-of-factly, like she was explaining a school project. Lily, you can't just. Can't what? Expose criminals? Report identity theft? Provide evidence of fraud to the appropriate authorities. Her voice remained level, but I heard an edge creeping in. Dad, they stole from me. They stole my future. They stole from elderly people who trusted Evan with their retirement savings. What would you have done? I would have gone to the police. Through proper channels. Not. I gestured helplessly at her laptop. Not whatever this is. The police would have taken months to investigate, if they bothered at all. By then, Mom and Evan would have been settled in Florida, with all the money moved to untraceable accounts. Lily opened her laptop. I did go through proper channels. Look, fraud reports filed with the Federal Trade Commission. Identity theft reports filed with local police. Anonymous tips sent to financial regulators. All documented, all official, all with evidence attached. I just did it efficiently. She pulled up screen after screen of official reports, all filed in my name and hers, all containing meticulous documentation. When did you do all this? I asked, my voice weak. Over the past 6 weeks. A little each day. Gathering evidence, creating backups, preparing reports. Last weekend, while you thought I was at Sarah's house for a sleepover, I was actually at the library using their public computers to file everything. Public IP addresses can't be traced back to us. She closed the laptop. I've been careful, Dad. Everything I've done is legal. Maybe not exactly ethical, but legal. How is hacking into their accounts legal? I didn't hack anything. They shared their passwords with me indirectly. Mom by using the same password for everything and leaving her phone accessible. Evan by using predictable password patterns. That's not hacking. That's just observing poor security practices. She shrugged. And I'm a minor. Even if what I did crossed some legal lines, I'm 12. What are they going to do? Prosecute a child for protecting herself from identity theft. The scary thing was, she was probably right. That evening, Rachel called again. And again. And again. Each time, I let it go to voicemail, and each time she sounded more frantic. Tom, please. I need help. They're saying I was involved in Evan's embezzlement. They're saying I helped him hide money. I didn't. I swear I didn't know anything about it. Please, you have to believe me. The house sale fell through. They won't release the money. We're trapped here, and our credit cards are maxed out, and I don't have anywhere to go. Evan's lawyer says someone reported him to the state board. They're investigating his license. He could go to prison, Tom. We could both go to prison. Please. Please help me understand who's doing this. Lily sat across from me during that last message, eating microwaved leftovers and doing her homework like nothing unusual was happening. Should I feel guilty? She asked when the voicemail ended. I don't know what you should feel, sweetheart. And that was the truth. What was the appropriate emotional response when your 12-year-old daughter had systematically destroyed 2 adults' lives in revenge for their crimes? How do you feel? She considered this while chewing a bite of chicken. Satisfied, I guess. They did something terrible and now they're facing consequences. That feels right. But they're your parents. Mom is my parent. Was my parent. I don't know what she is now. Lily set down her fork. And she stopped acting like a parent when she decided to steal my college fund to buy a beach house with her boyfriend. Parents are supposed to protect their kids, not victimize them. The next morning, Thursday, I woke to find Lily in my home office using the printer. The noise is what woke me. The mechanical whir and hum of page after page being printed. Lily, it's 6 in the morning. What are you doing? She didn't look up from her laptop. Printing documentation. I need to make sure we have hard copies of everything in case the digital evidence is somehow compromised. I walked closer and looked at the pages coming out of the printer. Bank statements, email screenshots, credit reports, legal documents. The pile was already an inch thick and growing. This is all from Mom and Evan's crimes? Yes. She collated a stack of papers and stapled them together. This set is for our lawyer. This set is for the police if they follow up on my reports. This set is backup for us. How much evidence do you have? Enough to put them both in prison for 5 to 10 years if prosecutors decide to pursue it. She said it so calmly, so clinically. But probably they'll just face financial penalties and probation. The criminal justice system is pretty lenient with white-collar crime, especially for first-time offenders. I sat down heavily in my desk chair. Lily, I need you to be honest with me. Is this going to blow back on us? Are we going to get in trouble for what you've done? She finally looked at me, and her expression was surprisingly gentle. No, Dad. I've been careful. Everything I filed was done legally. The evidence I gathered might not be admissible in court since I obtained it through password access they didn't explicitly give me, but it's enough for authorities to start their own legitimate investigations. We're protected. And what happens now? Now we wait. Mom and Evan's world is falling apart, and they don't even fully understand why yet. When they figure out that someone systematically documented their crimes and reported them to every relevant authority, they'll panic. And when people panic, they make mistakes. What kind of mistakes? Lily smiled, that unsettling smile. The kind that reveal even more criminal activity. The kind that make them look even worse to investigators. The kind that ensure they face appropriate consequences. Later that day, while Lily was at school, I received a call from Detective Maria Reeves with the Portland Police Department. Mr. Patterson, I'm calling about the identity theft report you filed on Monday. We've reviewed the documentation you provided, and I have to say, it's one of the most comprehensive cases I've seen. You should know that we've opened a formal investigation. My heart started pounding. An investigation into what exactly? Into your wife, Rachel Patterson, and her associate, Evan Westbrook, for identity theft, fraud, and possibly embezzlement. The evidence you provided shows clear criminal activity. There was a pause. Mr. Patterson, how did you come to gather all this information? The level of detail is unusual for a civilian victim. I thought about Lily sitting in some classroom right now, probably knowing that this call was happening. Probably having predicted it. I'm thorough, I said finally. When I realized what was happening, I documented everything I could find, including accessing my wife's email and financial accounts. She shared her passwords with me years ago. I lied, hoping it sounded convincing. We had joint access to everything. That part was technically true, for the bank accounts at least. I see. Detective Reeves didn't sound entirely convinced, but she moved on. We'll need you to come in and make a formal statement. Can you come by the station tomorrow? After I hung up, I texted Lily. Police called. They're investigating. They want me to come in tomorrow. Her response came almost immediately. That's good. Means the evidence was solid enough to pursue. Don't worry about tomorrow. Just tell the truth about what happened. You didn't know about Mom's plans until after she left. That's all you need to say. But what about how we got the evidence? You discovered suspicious activity and did what any reasonable person would do. You checked the accounts you had legitimate access to. That's not illegal. I stared at my phone, marveling at my daughter's ability to think 3 steps ahead, to anticipate obstacles and plan around them. When had she learned to think like this? Or had she always been this way and I just never noticed? That night, Rachel called again. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Tom. Her voice was hoarse, like she'd been crying for hours. Tom, I need help. Everything's falling apart. The police called me today. They said they're investigating me for identity theft and fraud. They said someone filed charges using yours and Lily's information. That was me, I said. Because it was true, even if I hadn't been the one actually filing the reports. You. She sounded genuinely shocked. You did this. You stole our daughter's college fund, Rachel. You used our social security numbers to commit fraud. What did you think would happen? I didn't think you'd be able to figure it out. You've never been good with this kind of thing. The insult stung, partly because it was true. I wasn't good with financial details or complicated scheming. I was a graphic designer who liked simple solutions to simple problems. Well, I figured it out. How? She wasn't crying now. She sounded suspicious. Calculating. How did you get all that information? How did you know about the house in Florida? How did you know about Evans? She stopped. About Evans' embezzlement? Is that what you were going to say? Silence. Rachel, I know everything. About the affair, about the stolen money, about the fraudulent accounts and the forged documents. I know about the hotel rooms and the secret phone and the plans to disappear to Florida. I know all of it. That's impossible. We were careful. Apparently not careful enough. I could hear her breathing on the other end. Rapid and shallow. Evan thinks it was someone from his office. A coworker who figured out what he was doing and decided to report him. Maybe it was. But the identity theft reports, those came from you. How did you know about our plans? How did you? She stopped again. And this time when she spoke, her voice was different. Colder. It was Lily, wasn't it? My blood ran cold. What? Lily? She's good with computers. She's always messing around on her laptop. Oh my God, it was Lily. Rachel let out a sound somewhere between a laugh and a sob. My 12-year-old daughter destroyed my life. Your 12-year-old daughter protected herself from her mother's criminal activity, I corrected. And yes, she's very good with computers, better than either of us realized. Where is she? I need to talk to her. Absolutely not. Tom, she's my daughter. She's the daughter whose college fund you stole. She's the daughter whose identity you used to commit fraud. She's the daughter you were planning to abandon without even saying goodbye. My voice was shaking now. All the anger I'd been suppressing for days finally breaking through. You don't get to talk to her. You don't get to explain or apologize or ask for forgiveness. You made your choice. Please, Rachel whispered. Please, Tom. I know I made mistakes, but I never meant to hurt Lily. I love her. I love both of you. I got confused. Evan made me feel alive again in a way I hadn't felt in years. And I thought, you thought you could steal our daughter's future to fund your midlife crisis? I was surprised by how cold I sounded. You thought you could abandon your family and face no consequences? Is that what Lily thinks? That there should be consequences. Lily thinks actions should have appropriate responses. You taught her that, actually. Remember when she was 8 and broke our neighbor's window playing baseball? You made her apologize and pay for the repair with her allowance money. You said people need to take responsibility for the damage they cause. That's not the same thing, isn't it? You caused damage, Rachel. A lot of damage. Lily's just making sure you take responsibility for it. There was a long silence. Then, can I talk to her? Just for a minute? I need to explain. At that moment, Lily walked into the room. She'd been standing in the doorway listening. And now she crossed to me and held out her hand. I gave her the phone. Hi, Mom, she said, her voice perfectly calm. I couldn't hear Rachel's response, but I watched Lily's face as she listened. No emotion. No tears. Just that same eerie calm. No, I don't want to hear your explanation, Lily said finally. I know why you did what you did. You met someone new and exciting, and you decided your existing family was less important than your new relationship. You needed money to start your new life, so you took ours. It's actually pretty simple. More sounds from Rachel's end of the call. I could hear her voice rising, becoming shrill. Mom, stop. Just stop. Lily's voice remained level. You made choices. Choices have consequences. You taught me that. Rachel said something else, longer this time. No, I'm not trying to ruin your life. I'm trying to protect mine. Lily walked to the window, looking out at our quiet suburban street. You and Evan stole from me. You stole from other people, too. You committed crimes. All I did was report those crimes to the appropriate authorities. If that ruins your life, that's because of what you did, not what I did. Rachel was definitely crying now. I could hear her even from where I was sitting. I know you're scared, Lily said. And for the first time, I heard something other than cold logic in her voice. Something almost like sympathy. But I can't help you. This is what happens when you make bad choices, Mom. You face the results. Whatever Rachel said next made Lily's expression harden again. Don't call here anymore, Lily said. Don't try to contact me or Dad. Deal with your lawyers and the police and whatever else happens. Leave us alone. We're not your family anymore. We're just the people you stole from. And she hung up. The silence that followed felt enormous. Lily set the phone down on the table and looked at me. I'm okay, she said, though I hadn't asked. I know that was harsh, but it needed to be said. How do you feel? It was the only question I could think to ask. She considered this for a moment. Sad, I guess. Not for her. She deserves what's happening, but sad that she's actually the kind of person who would do this to us. I thought I knew her. Turns out I didn't. I pulled Lily into a hug, and she let me, resting her head against my chest. For a moment, she felt like my little girl again, instead of this frighteningly competent stranger. "Are you mad at me?" she asked, her voice muffled against my shirt. Mad? No. Terrified? Maybe. Proud? Definitely. But not mad. Good. She pulled back and looked up at me. "Because it's not over yet." "What do you mean?" "Mom and Evan still have money hidden somewhere. The Florida house was just one part of their plan. There's more I haven't found yet." Her expression turned determined. "And I'm going to find it." Over the next week, I watched my daughter become someone I barely recognized. She maintained her normal routine: school, homework, dinner, the usual 12-year-old activities. But every spare moment was spent on her laptop, digging deeper into Rachel and Evan's financial activities. "Look at this," she said one evening, turning her screen toward me. 3 weeks before Mom left, she opened a safe deposit box at a bank downtown. See the charge on her credit card? $75 for annual box rental. So, why would she need a safe deposit box? She's never had one before. Lily clicked through several more screens. And look at this. 2 days before she left, she withdrew $5,000 in cash from an ATM. Why cash when everything else was electronic transfers? I don't know, Lily. Maybe she wanted walking around money. $5,000. Lily shook her head. No. She was hiding something. Assets that can't be traced electronically. Maybe jewelry, maybe cash, maybe account information for offshore banks. Offshore banks. I stared at my daughter. Lily, you're 12. How do you even know about offshore banks? Internet. She shrugged. There are entire forums dedicated to hiding assets in divorces. You'd be surprised what people discuss openly online. My Friday meeting with Detective Reeves went better than I'd feared. I told her the truth, that Rachel had left suddenly, that I'd discovered the empty bank accounts, that I'd found evidence of fraud when I'd checked the accounts I had legitimate access to. I carefully avoided mentioning Lily's role in gathering most of the detailed evidence. "Mr. Patterson, I have to ask, did you have help with any of this?" The level of technical sophistication in tracking these transactions is beyond what most civilians could manage. "I'm good with computers," I said, which wasn't technically a lie. I was adequate with computers. I just wasn't hack into secure accounts and document financial crimes good. Good. Detective Reeves looked skeptical, but let it go. "Well, regardless of how you obtained the information, the case is solid. We've corroborated your evidence through official channels, and the district attorney is considering charges against both your wife and Mr. Westbrook." "What kind of charges?" "Identity theft, fraud, possibly embezzlement if the evidence of stolen client funds holds up. We're still investigating." She closed her notebook. "You should know that Mrs. Patterson's attorney has been in touch. They're claiming she had no knowledge of Mr. Westbrook's illegal activities and that she was manipulated." "That's ridiculous." "The emails show she was fully involved in." I stopped, realizing I'd just admitted to reading Rachel's private emails. Detective Reeves raised an eyebrow. "Show she was fully involved in what, Mr. Patterson?" "In planning to use my daughter's identity for the house purchase," I finished quickly. "That's in the documents I provided." She studied me for a long moment. "Right. Well, the investigation is ongoing. We'll be in touch if we need anything else." When I got home, I found Lily in the kitchen making dinner. Actual dinner. Pasta with marinara sauce, garlic bread, and a salad. She'd even set the table. "What's all this?" I asked. "You've been stressed. I thought a nice meal might help." She stirred the pasta. "Plus, we need to celebrate." "Celebrate what?" "Evan's attorney called a press conference today. He's pleading guilty to embezzlement charges in exchange for a reduced sentence, 5 years probation, and full restitution to the families he stole from." I sank into a chair. "How do you know about this?" "It's public record. The press conference was live-streamed." She drained the pasta and began plating it. "What's not public yet is that part of his plea deal includes testimony against Mom. He's throwing her under the bus to save himself. Lily, she was involved." Dad, the evidence shows that clearly. She helped him move the money, helped him create fake documents, helped him hide assets. She wasn't some innocent victim he manipulated. She was his partner. Lily set a plate in front of me. She's going to face charges, too, probably within the next week. I looked at the meal my daughter had prepared, at her calm face, at the matter-of-fact way she discussed her mother's impending arrest, and I felt something crack inside me. Lily, stop. Just stop for a minute. She paused, a forkful of pasta halfway to her mouth. Stop what? All of this. The investigating, the monitoring, the planning. Just stop. You're 12 years old. You should be worried about homework and friends and school drama, not coordinating with police investigations and tracking down hidden assets. Someone has to do it. Let me do it then. Let the police do it. Let the lawyers do it. Let adults handle adult problems. Lily set down her fork. Dad, I love you, but you're not good at this stuff. You're a great dad and a talented designer and a kind person, but you're not equipped to deal with this level of deception and criminality. I am. You shouldn't have to be, but I am. She reached across the table and took my hand. And that's okay. Different people have different skills. You're good at making me feel safe and loved. I'm good at protecting us from people who want to hurt us. We're a team. What happened to you? The question came out as a whisper. When did you become this person? Lily thought about this for a long moment. I don't think I became this person. I think I've always been this person, and you just never needed to see it before. When everything was normal and safe, I could just be your daughter who liked art class and fantasy novels. But when things got dangerous, I had to be something else too. But you're so calm about all of it. Doesn't it hurt that your mother betrayed us? For the first time, I saw a real emotion flicker across her face. Of course, it hurts. It hurts every single day. But being hurt doesn't mean I get to fall apart. Someone has to keep us safe, Dad. Someone has to make sure she doesn't get away with it. Someone has to protect our future. Her eyes welled up with tears she refused to let fall. I wish I could just cry and be sad and let someone else fix everything. But that's not an option. So, I do what needs to be done, and I feel my feelings later. When is later? I don't know. Maybe years from now, when we're safe and stable and everything is okay again. Maybe then I'll let myself feel it. She squeezed my hand. But not now. Now I have to be strong. I pulled her into a hug. And this time when she cried, she let herself. Not loud, dramatic sobs, but quiet tears that soaked into my shirt while her small body shook with suppressed emotion. I've got you, I whispered. You don't have to be strong all the time. I've got you. I know, she said. But I've got you too. The following Tuesday, Rachel was arrested. I found out not from the police, but from Lily, who was monitoring news feeds about the case. Mom's being arraigned tomorrow, she said, looking up from her laptop. They charged her with conspiracy to commit identity theft, fraud, and aiding and embezzlement. No bail because they consider her a flight risk. How are you feeling about that? I asked carefully. Lily closed her laptop and was quiet for a long moment. I'm glad she's facing consequences, but I'm also sad because she's my mom. And even though she did terrible things, part of me still loves her. She looked at me with those wise, old eyes. Is that weird? No, sweetie. That's completely normal. Love doesn't just disappear because someone hurts you. Do you still love her? The question caught me off guard. Did I? After everything she'd done, after all the betrayal and lies and theft. I don't know, I said finally. I'm not sure I ever really knew who she actually was. That's sad. Yeah, it really is. Over the next several months, I watched our lives slowly stabilize. The legal process ground forward. Police investigations, court hearings, plea negotiations. Rachel's attorney tried to make deals, but the evidence was too strong. Eventually, she pleaded guilty to reduce her sentence and was given 3 years in prison, plus restitution. Evan got 5 years for his original crimes, plus the additional charges related to the identity theft. His accounting license was permanently revoked. The money, what was left of it, was returned to us. Not all of it. Legal fees and Evan's restitution payments ate up a significant chunk, but we recovered about $60,000 of Lily's college fund and most of our savings. It's enough, Lily said when we reviewed the financial settlement. It's not what we had before, but it's enough to rebuild. Throughout all of this, Lily maintained her unervingly mature composure. She went to school, did her homework, hung out with friends. To the outside world, she probably seemed like any other 8th grader, but I knew better. I saw her late-night work sessions on her laptop. I knew she was writing something, though she wouldn't tell me what until it was finished. 3 months after Rachel's sentencing, Lily showed me what she'd been working on. It's a guide, she explained, pulling up a professionally looked document on her screen. For kids and families on how to protect themselves from financial abuse and identity theft. The guide was comprehensive, 80 pages covering everything from basic password security to recognizing signs of financial fraud to step-by-step instructions for reporting identity theft to authorities. Lily, this is incredible. I'm going to publish it online as a free resource, and I'm going to present it to the school board next month. She scrolled through the pages. 3 other families in our district have already discovered similar problems. Parents stealing from their kids, spouses hiding assets, that kind of thing. This could help them. You want to present this to the school board? About financial crime, about financial safety and literacy. I'm framing it as an educational initiative. She smiled. Mrs. Henderson in the counseling office is helping me. She thinks it could be really valuable. And it was. Lily's presentation to the school board went viral. First locally, then regionally, then nationally. News outlets picked up the story. 12-year-old creates financial safety guide after foiling mother's fraud. It snowballed from there. Within 6 months, Lily was being invited to speak at conferences about cybersecurity and financial literacy. She started a consulting service with me as the adult face of the business, since she was still a minor, helping families identify and protect against financial abuse. She charged reasonable rates, $75 an hour, and quickly built up a client base. I'm replacing my college fund, she told me one evening, showing me her business accounts. At this rate, I'll have it fully restored within 2 years. Lily, you don't have to. I want to. It's mine. Mom took it, and I'm getting it back. Her voice was firm. On my own terms, through my own work. She did it in 18 months. The day Lily's college fund account hit $75,000 again, we went out for ice cream to celebrate. She got 2 scoops of mint chocolate chip, her favorite, and we sat at a park bench watching the sunset. Do you ever think about her? I asked. We hadn't talked about Rachel in months. Sometimes, Lily licked her ice cream cone thoughtfully. I think about who she could have been if she'd made different choices. The mom she could have been if she'd chosen us instead of Evan. Do you think you'll ever want to talk to her when she gets out? I don't know. Maybe. Or maybe the person I'd want to talk to never really existed. She turned to me. Is that okay if I never want a relationship with her? Of course it's okay. You get to decide what relationships you want in your life, Lily, including with your mother. What about you? Will you talk to her? I thought about this. Rachel had sent me several letters from prison. Long, rambling things full of apologies and explanations and justifications. I'd read the first few, then stopped opening them. I don't think so, I said finally. I don't think there's anything left to say. Me neither. We finished our ice cream in comfortable silence, and for the first time in nearly 2 years, I felt something like peace. 5 years later, I'm standing in the parking lot of Portland State University, watching Lily load boxes into her dorm room. She's 17 now, starting college a year early because she's brilliant and driven, and everything I could have hoped for her to become. Her business has grown beyond what either of us imagined. She has a team of consultants working with her, adults now, people with real credentials, though everyone knows Lily is the real brains of the operation. She's written 3 more guides on digital safety and financial literacy. She's spoken at conferences across the country. She's built something meaningful from the ashes of what Rachel destroyed. Dad, you're going to cry, she says, noticing me watching her. I'm not crying. You're definitely about to cry. She grinned, a real, genuine 17-year-old grin, and came over to hug me. I'm going to be fine. Better than fine. I'm going to be great. I know you are. And you're going to be fine too. You're dating again. You've got your design business thriving. And you're only 45. Your life isn't over just because I'm going to college. She's right. I've rebuilt too. New clients, new friends, even a new relationship with a woman named Elena who teaches chemistry at the community college. Life isn't what I thought it would be, but it's good. Different good, but still good. When did you become the parent in this relationship? I ask. About 5 years ago, when I had to save us from Mom's terrible life choices. She laughs, but there's truth underneath the humor. We both grew up that year, Dad. Me just a lot faster than I should have. Do you regret it? What you did? Lily considers this seriously. No. I protected us. I made sure there were consequences for people who'd committed crimes. I turned something terrible into something that helps other families. I don't regret any of that. She pauses. But I wish I hadn't had to do it. I wish I could have just been a kid. You were a kid. You're still a kid, maybe. But I'm also the person who learned that sometimes you have to save yourself because no one else will. That's a hard lesson to learn at 12, but it's probably served me well. Before I leave, she hands me an envelope. What's this? Open it when you get home. I do. Inside is a letter, handwritten on nice stationery. Dad, I've never properly thanked you for the past 5 years. You could have fallen apart when Mom left. You could have been angry at me for what I did to her. You could have tried to stop me or turn me in or a million other things. Instead, you trusted me. You let me do what I needed to do to protect us. You supported me, even when you didn't fully understand what I was doing. You gave me space to be something other than just your little girl. You let me be complex and complicated and sometimes scary. I know it wasn't easy watching your 12-year-old daughter become someone you didn't quite recognize. But you loved me anyway. You stood by me anyway. And that's the reason I survived what Mom did to us. Not because I'm smart or resourceful, but because I had you believing in me. So, thank you for everything. For being the parent she couldn't be. For keeping me fed and safe and loved while I was busy being a weird little vigilante hacker. For not making me feel like I had to choose between being your daughter and being the person I needed to be to survive. I love you so much, Lily. P.S. I'm changing my major from computer science to law. I think I want to prosecute financial crimes, help people the way we couldn't be helped until I took matters into my own hands. Is that weird? P.P.S. Mom sent another letter. Still not ready to read it. Maybe someday or maybe never. I'm okay with either option. I sit in my car in the university parking lot and finally let myself cry. Not from sadness, but from overwhelming pride and relief and love for this extraordinary person I somehow helped raise. Lily was right. 5 years ago, when Rachel destroyed our lives, Lily smirked and said, "Dad, don't worry. I handled it." And she did. She handled it better than any adult could have. She turned betrayal into justice, trauma into purpose, and our broken family into something stronger than it had ever been before. Rachel thought she was running away with a lover and a fortune. Instead, she'd been outsmarted by a 12-year-old with Wi-Fi and an unshakable sense of right and wrong. And when she called screaming after discovering everything was gone, her money, her freedom, her future, Lily had just whispered those same words, "Don't worry, Dad. I handled it." So, tell me, what would you have done in my place? Have you ever had to deal with a betrayal this deep, or seen someone you love transform so completely in the face of adversity? I really want to hear what you think in the comments below.